Welcome to Our Purpose, Our People, an Ardent Health Services podcast connecting you to the stories from the people in our hospitals and clinics, caring for our patients, their families, and one another. I'm Amanda Armstrong. Thank you, Ezell, for joining us today and sharing your story. I understand that you're a volunteer at the University of Kansas Health System, St. Francis campus. When did you become a volunteer and why?
I've been a participant in what we call cardio rehab program. I have been involved in that for about the last 4 years, and I have gained tremendously insofar as physically, mentally, and being able to, let's say, rehab myself from my heart condition that I had, to the point where I was thinking, how did I give back to this hospital, which has taken care of me? And I said, you can write a check, and you get a lot of thank yous, but maybe you might not get very many. But if you kind of spend some time with some of the same people that you're, let's say, exercising along with, and they look to you to say, well, wait a minute, why are you here? You don't look as if you have any particular problems. And you say to them, oh, no, I've had a few problems. It's just that I was bullheaded enough to try to go ahead and continue to work through them. And if you have any particular problems, you can do the exact same thing. In fact, if you want to, work along with me. And when I started doing that, it seemed to be a lot of fun. And I said, I see the volunteers here. People tend to like them to help them out from time to time. I think I got enough time. I'm retired. So I said, I have nothing but time. And I'd like to give some of that time back to cardio rehab. And that is the reason why I became a volunteer. Some of the individuals that come in there have never exercised at all. And this exercise program that they're on is a task. So if you see someone like that, one of the things that you can do as a volunteer is to say, okay, how do you feel? And are you working real hard? Or are you not working very hard? Do you think that you can go on? Well, you can help them with some encouragement. And some of that encouragement is just simply by making verbal contact and talking to them through some of these exercises. And some of it is just to do it yourself. There's many a time that I've worked out and people have come and said, can I work out with you? And instead of acting like, well, no, you're getting in the way, I got a particular routine. I say, no. So if you want to try this machine or if you want to try another machine, go ahead and try that, and I'll work right along with you. And as I'm working along with them, I talk to them so that I can get an idea of their background and questions they may have. It's not that I'm an expert. I'm there to complement the nursing staff by being an actual program participant and being at one time a person that had some fairly good physical health and knowing how to use these machines and whatnot. I can help out in that particular way. But at no time do I try to do any diagnosing or anything like that. That is really for the professional staff.
I imagine for the other cardiac patients who are at the beginning of their journey, whether they've had some procedure or an event, that's obviously why they're there at cardiac rehab, seeing you, listening to you, knowing that you've been down this path, but you're ahead of them, that's helpful for them.
It is. I'll share one quick story. While I was working out, a lady came over to talk to me who had obviously had herself a procedure, and she said to me, sir, do you come and work out here just during the lunch hour? And I said, no. She says, well, I don't see any reason why you should be here. And she said, excuse me for being nosy, but you really seem to be doing pretty well here. And I said, you know what? If you stay at this, you'll be doing as well. She was like, no way. I said, I'm only where I am now, only because of cardio rehab. And I said, you can do the same thing.
So take us back to the reason that you started at cardiac rehab and ultimately became a volunteer. Take us back to the beginning of your journey.
2013 or so, I was about 266 pounds, and I was that way for a number of years. I simply said, I'm just a big guy, big bone, big kind of guy. I started to feel a little bit not on top of my game. I was lethargic. I was tired all the time. My heart was giving me some issues. My blood pressure was not exactly as I would. And I was taking quite a few medicines. So I went in again and talked to my cardiologist. And they ran a couple tests, and they said, well, let's put in a stent. You already have a stent in right now. It was an earlier procedure. They said perhaps maybe another stent might get a little bit more blood flow going to the heart. When I woke up, the physician said, Mr. Monts, I'm sorry to tell you, but we were not able to do that procedure. He said, in fact, you have triple blockage in your heart. He said, we cannot do anything with a stent. This is going to have to be an operation. And I was absolutely dumbfounded. In fact, I think he had to repeat that to me about 6 times before it actually sunk in that I was going to have open heart surgery. After my surgery, my pulmonary system started to shut down. I was about 2 days into my recovery, and the duty nurse at that time, she had a routine of starting at one end of the, let's say the wing, and coming back, with my checkoff being like the last. She said to me afterwards that for some reason she thought it was important that she check on me first. I had coded, and she immediately got on that, but I made it. I was released from the hospital in July. I went back at the end of August under my own power and asked to speak to her, and she was dumbfounded that I was able to come in. But I had lost about 40 pounds, and I was under my own power, and she just hugged me, and I hugged her. And I just told her, thank you very much for saving my life.
That's truly remarkable, and speaks to the power of one that we share a lot here at Ardent, and that one nurse and that one decision that she made in that moment changed your life.
Exactly. We all come into cardio rehab, or we come into that particular program with, let's say, not necessarily baggage, but our own stories. The thing that I have never been very big on is when you get an opportunity to be on the floor and give praise where praise is, or to say that this has been something that has worked for me, I like to take those opportunities. I wanted them to know that, one, I was there, just like all the other people who were going to be regular full-time employees. I was there as a volunteer, and I was quite happy to be there as a volunteer. And I wanted to share in that little bit of time that I had why I was there.
Well, Ezell, again, I appreciate you sharing your story. It certainly connects with our purpose of caring for people, our patients, their families, and one another. And you're a great reminder of carrying that purpose forward. Thank you.